Welcome to the Brain Pick a Pro Show, live from Lake Wiley, South Carolina. I'm Larry Goins. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. We really, really appreciate it. I'm really excited to have on a great guest today. This guy is just blows me away with everything he's done. He is the Money Answers man. He's been doing this 40 years, I guess. And he's got his own show and he teaches people practical, common sense stuff, really good information, just great content, great information. The guy's written 13 books. Come on, man. You got me by 3 times. What's up with that? 3 or 4 times or 5 times. So please give a warm welcome, Jordan Goodman. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Great to be with you, Larry. Yeah, well, we both are in the same business of trying to help people do well in real estate. So I'm going to try to give some really practical strategies they might not have heard about before, specific resources they can take advantage of these things.
Awesome. Start out and tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I've been America's Money Answers man for about 40 years. I was at Money Magazine for 18 years, Wall Street correspondent there. As you said, I've done 13 books. I did one called The Dictionary of Finance and Investment Terms, defining all the terms of finance and investment. I did one called Master Your Debt, where we're going to talk about some strategies having to do with mortgages there. I won't go through all 13, but I've done lots of books. My website, moneyanswers.com. I've got a YouTube channel. I do the Money Answers show, which has been going for about 11 years now. And I'm going to have you on as a guest as well there.
Right.
I'm on call-in radio shows, TV shows, give speeches, webinars, everything I can to help people improve their personal finances in all kinds of ways.
Awesome, man. That is really good. So let's just jump right in. I know you got a lot of different strategies and, you're going to give people right here, right now, some specific resources, phone numbers, websites, and things like that they can put into action right away. So you're going to provide some really, really good content. So guys, I encourage you out there, please take a lot of notes, grab a pen, grab something to write on. And get ready to take a lot of notes because, Jordan's got some really cool stuff. And in his books as well, make sure you bookmark his website and stuff. He'll give out some links here in a few minutes. But, man, why don't you just jump right in? I know you got a whole laundry list of things you can share.
Well, let's start with the first one, which is a strategy people might not have heard about, which is called mortgage equity optimization. And literally, it allows you to pay off a mortgage many, many years faster than you ever thought possible on your existing level of income. Typically, you can pay off a 30-year mortgage in about 5 to 7 years on your existing level of income. And this works both for your primary residence and also for investment property, where your tenants pay your mortgage off much, much faster than possible. Right. So let me just briefly explain the traditional system and how this is kind of the different than the traditional system. The traditional system, you take out a 30-year mortgage, and you keep your income from your paycheck, wherever you're getting your income from, in your checking account, sitting there earning zero. This works really well for the bank, okay? Because they're charging you interest up front. The first 10 to 15 years, it's pretty much all interest. The amortization is very, very slow.
Right.
And then even better for the bank, when you refinance a mortgage, you start a new 30-year clock all over again. So even though your interest rate and payment may be a little bit less, you just threw away tens of thousands of dollars in interest you paid up front for that mortgage. So that's the traditional system, which works so well for the banks. So don't expect to hear about optimization from the banks because they're happy the way it is, all right? So with mortgage optimization, instead of having your money work for the bank, your money is actually working for you. And so here's briefly how it works. You open up a home equity line of credit, HELOC, what's called a HELOC, which is a liquid line against your house. You take money in, you can put it out, with no restrictions whatsoever. You can write checks on it and so on. That's a second on your mortgage. You're going to keep your first. Right. Say you have a good rate. Say you have a 4% rate or something like that. You're going to keep that, but you're going to do what they call the blended strategy, combining the HELOC with that first to pay it off much, much quicker. So you open the HELOC, write a check from the HELOC towards your first, pay your first down a little bit, and then you keep your income in the HELOC all the time. Your money is pushing down the principal. HELOCs are based on what's called average daily balance. How much do you owe today? And so the money that you have that's normally sitting in the checking account doing nothing is in the HELOC pushing your balance down every day. So the amount of interest you owe is less and less, because your principal is going down so much faster. And then you kind of pay the HELOC off, and then you do it again, and you keep paying your first down. Let me just give you a simple example of how this works, Larry, because I'll kind of spell it out that way. So say you have a house worth, whatever, $300,000. I'll give an example.
Right.
Say you have a $200,000 first on it at 4% or some kind of a good rate. You then go open a HELOC for, say, $50,000. So you just opened it. You haven't used it yet. You would then write a check on the HELOC for $50,000 and do it towards the first. So instead of owing $200 in the first, you now owe $150. During the next year or so, you keep your income going into that HELOC, pushing your balance down every day. And after, whatever, roughly a year or so, that $50,000 is paid off. You then do it again. You do another $50,000 check towards the HELOC, towards the first. And now instead of being $150,000, you owe $100,000. Pay off the HELOC. Do it twice more. After 4 years, your first is paid off. In the 5th year, you've paid off the HELOC. You are now mortgage free. That makes sense?
So what you're doing is you're just really using the advantage of compound interest, average daily interest, and the lower rate on the HELOC, or a low rate on the HELOC, and the flexibility of a HELOC to be able to lower your balance. You're converting a 30-year fixed rate mortgage or 20-year whatever fixed rate mortgage, a portion of that into a HELOC, so the average daily balance is lower, so your interest is much, much less because you put your paycheck into that.
And again, it works for investment properties too. So say you have a rental unit of some kind, and you're taking the money, the rental income from your tenants, and putting that into the HELOC, and you'll be free and clear, whatever, in 5 years instead of 30 years on an investment property. So it works both ways. So the advantage to you is you have far, far less interest. You also have liquidity. When you have a first mortgage, you have no liquidity. You can't write a check on your mortgage. Right. It gives you liquidity in the equity in your house. And by the way, you can put other debts in there, student loans, credit cards, car loans, all kinds of other things. You run through that HELOC. And then once your mortgage is paid off completely, you still keep the HELOC. So you still have that liquidity if you need it for other things, including buying investment properties of various types. So there's 3 things you need to make this work, Larry. The first thing you need is equity in your house. If you're underwater in your house, there's nothing to borrow against.
Right.
Second thing, you need a decent credit score, 680 or higher, to qualify for the HELOC. And the third thing you need is positive cash flow. During the month, more money coming in than going out, because that positive cash flow is what's pushing that principal down on a regular basis. The more positive cash flow you have, the faster it gets paid off. It's just a matter of numbers. Now, there's a free place to actually model it in your own situation, which is truthinequity.com, truthinequity.com. And so you go on there, you set up what's called a personal profile. You put in your income, you put in your expenses, you put in your home value, you put in your mortgage, you put in all the numbers. And it's going to say, okay, based on what you're doing today, it's going to take you 28 and a half years to pay off your mortgage, whatever it may be. And based on the numbers you just gave us, it'll be 5.6 years. Or they'll tell you precisely how quickly you can pay your mortgage off. And then they show you step by step how to actually implement the strategy. So I've just saved your listeners 25 years off their mortgage and tens of thousands of dollars in interest in a way the bank will never tell you about.
Man, that is huge. That's really good stuff.
Including for investors.
I'm on the website right now. Just trolling the website, looking around, and it's really here's one link right here. You mentioned personal profile. You go there and it gives step-by-step instructions, and you just fill out the form, and boom,
it'll give you exactly what your payoff would be. So the more positive cash flow you have, the faster it'll get paid off there. You are now in control of how quickly you pay off your mortgage, as opposed to the traditional system. You've got this huge rock that you've got to pay off over 30 years with all the interest up front. So now you're in control. What a difference in people's life. You can imagine a couple that's 35 and their mortgage is paid off at 40 instead of 65.
Right.
What a difference that's going to make in their life, right?
Plus, then it frees up all that equity that now, instead of having a $50,000 HELOC, you could have a $200,000 or $250,000 HELOC and use that for investments as well and leverage.
Correct. So it's a great thing. It's just most people don't know, ever heard about something else. So mortgage equity optimization is that strategy, truthinequity.com. That's strategy number 1.
That's awesome, man. I love it. What's the next strategy you're going to share with us?
Next strategy is to earn passive income from real estate without having to do anything, without having to buy property, deal with tenants. I know what you do all the time, which is great, but for some people, they don't want to do that all the time, or they want to do less of it. So there are funds that are so-called Regulation A+ funds, or commonly called crowdfunding funds,
Right.
that do it for you. And you get an 8% annual yield in monthly checks, and it's completely passive from your point of view.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite one is called the Secured Real Estate Income Strategies, or SREIS as they call it for short. And the website for that is securedrealestatefunds.com. They've got a phone number too, 888-444-2102. Just for full disclosure, I'm on the board of this thing. I know these people extremely well. It's got a great track record. So it's something that I really believe in very strongly. So what they're doing is lending money short-term, a year to 18 months, something like that, to a widely diversified portfolio of commercial real estate all over the country, not residential, commercial. Things like apartment buildings, medical offices, student housing, senior housing, parking lots, just all kinds of different commercial properties. The maximum loan to value is 70%. So they're not lending the full value of the program, they lend 70%. So the borrower developer always has lots of skin in the game, 30% or more. And these are projects that are vetted very, very carefully. And so you're diversified geographically all over the country and diversified by the different types, we said. The people running this fund, making the real estate decisions, been doing this for like 30 years. The price of the shares does not change. It stays at $10 a share net asset value. So you don't have to worry about it going up and down. You know, the stock market's been crazy and up and down all over the place. This, to me, is an alternative to bonds or cash. Bonds, you get 3% with a lot of volatility, and I think rates are going to go up, so you have potential capital losses there. And cash, your principal doesn't change, but you don't earn anything on it these days, you know, well under 1%. So as long as you can tie your money up for 1 year, $5,000 is the minimum for this, but there's no commissions or anything like that. The full amount you invest gets in there. You now have an 8% yield, and actually it's a little bit more than 8%. 8% is what's called the preferred return.
Sure.
That's what they're getting for the interest, but they actually have a profit sharing on top of it. So in addition to that, when the building that they're financing sells, the borrower shares 30% of the profit with the fund, and the fund gives 80% of the profit to the shareholders. So for example, in 2017, the actual return of the fund was 8.7. So far this year, it's been about 8.4 because those profit sharing distributions happen on a quarterly basis when a building is sold. So you get the income and then a little extra on top from the profit sharing. That's
really sweet, man. I like that. I'm on the website now, and a lot of really good information. I love it. In fact, one of the leadership team I interviewed on this show a while back, Mark Ross from Good Steward.
Correct. Good. Good Steward is the kind of financial administrator of the whole thing. So when you call that number I gave you, the 888-444-2102, it goes to Good Steward.
Yeah.
And they typically set up what's called a folio account. There's a folio is a third-party administrator.
Sure.
Set it up at folio. You can reinvest it. You can do it in an IRA. So in this very volatile world, to have something where the principal doesn't really change and you're getting an 8% plus yield, I think is a good thing for a portion of your real estate portfolio. This is the passive portion of it.
Right.
So anyway, that's idea number 2.
That's good. That's good. I love it. I love it. So that's securedrealestatefunds.com, right?
Correct.
That's good. That's good. So what else you got for us?
The next one is what's giving tremendous value to heroes in helping in their real estate transactions.
Yeah.
This is a program called Heroes Come First. So a hero is defined as military, either current military or veterans, doctors, anybody in the medical field, dentists, nurses, anybody in the medical field, educators, teachers of any kind, clergy, EMTs, police, fire, all those kind of people, all right? These are people who give their lives for us. When the fire's happening, we're running away, they're running in. You know, when 9/11 happens, they're the one running into so, you know, they're literally putting their lives on the line for us. And, you know, you say thank you for your service when you're in the airport passing a military person, but I'm not going to give them a lot of money. It's even better, all right? So here's what this Heroes Come First program does. And the website is heroescomefirst.com. They give them a rebate of 1/4 of the real estate agent's commission when they're buying a home or when they're selling a home. Right there, that can be thousands of dollars. The real estate agent is giving it back. He'd rather get the sale than, he's willing to give up a quarter of his commission to help a hero, basically. That's the first thing. There are grants of as much as $10,000, which you don't have to pay back, for down payments on a first home for a hero. There are discounts on closing costs of various types: escrow, appraisal, title, all the things that go into that. You get big discounts on the closing costs.
Right.
And a lower interest rate on the mortgage as well. So literally, it can be thousands of dollars that the hero gets for being a hero, basically.
Sure.
Again, the website for that, heroescomefirst.com. They got a phone number, 888-437-6114. And so you would go there if you're considered a hero or you know a hero and say, who is the real estate agent where I'm located that's part of this program? And they refer you to somebody, and who are the title companies and all the closing agents involved. So anyway, that can help a lot of people save a lot of money if they're heroes when doing a real estate transaction.
That's really, really good, and it's very important. We're involved in several organizations that help veterans, and I think that's very, very important.
It is. They really need it. They have a hard time in many cases, and they've literally put their lives on the line. So this is a way of giving back to them. So
you're
hopefully that can help a lot of your folks. Mm-hmm.
You're so right about that. Right about that. Man, this is good stuff. This is really, really good stuff. If you're just now joining us, make sure you grab a pen and a paper and jot some of this stuff down. This is awesome stuff. We're talking with Jordan Goodman, and he is America's Money Answers man, right? Absolutely. So what else you got for us there, Jordan?
Okay, so there's a program kind of auditing if you have an adjustable rate mortgage. A lot of people don't realize that their mortgage payment is incorrect. Now, if it's adjustable, if it's going up and down,
right,
on some kind of an index, could be the national mortgage rate, it could be the prime rate, it could be LIBOR. There's a bunch of different indexes.
Sure.
And there's a spread over that index. And as it goes up and down, you think the bank is doing it right. 40 to 50% of the cases, they're doing it wrong, actually. And often, a mortgage is shifted from one mortgage servicer to another, and they often mess it up in the meantime. So there's a place called verifymymortgage.com, and they've got a phone number as well, 800-888-6781. And what they do is they see your original mortgage document, they see the payments you've made, and then they audit it to say what you should have paid. And again, in 40 to 50% of the cases, they find you've overpaid, typically by thousands and thousands of dollars. One guy he'd overpaid for $40,000 for the last 15 years, something like that. Now, it might not be that big, but people do not, it's a problem people don't even realize they have, never mind solving it. So the guy who runs this Verify My Mortgage, named David Ginsburg, has been doing this for years, and he knows all the indexes and where they've been and where they're up and down. And then in the end, he'll give you a detailed letter saying, here's what you did pay, and here's what you should have paid, and here is the, $10,000 you've overpaid, and you send that to the bank, and they usually, have to say, yes, you're right. We audited it, and you get the rebate, and then your payment is adjusted correctly. So again, it's a problem a lot of people don't even know they have, Larry, but a lot of people are paying far, far more than they should be on their adjustable rate mortgages.
And Jordan, that's so important, because a lot of people get an adjustable rate mortgage and then they just forget about it, right?
Correct.
They just forget about it, and they just, the bank sent me a letter, I guess my payment went up, right? And the same thing with PMI. They don't realize after a certain length of time, you can eliminate the PMI altogether. And they don't even think about that. They don't realize that.
David Ginsburg does the same thing for PMI, actually. It's called verifymypmi.com. And what they do is, if you have 20% or more equity in a house, you shouldn't have to pay private mortgage insurance anymore.
Sure.
Now, the private mortgage insurance company has no interest in telling you you're over 20%.
Right.
None. They just like getting those premiums. I hate private mortgage insurance because you're insuring the lender. You're not insuring yourself. You're insuring somebody else, and you're paying hundreds of dollars a month in premiums on something you don't even get any benefit from, basically.
Sure.
So there's several ways that your PMI can be stopped. say homes have appreciated in your neighborhood a lot, which has happened to a lot of people. Say you did an addition or some kind of improvement, that could increase your equity. Right. Say you paid your mortgage, you made extra mortgage payments. Say you used the mortgage equity optimization model we talked about at the beginning, and you paid your mortgage down a lot. There's a lot of ways that you can get over that 20% hump. And the PMI insurance company is never going to look into it or tell you about it. So you have to kind of challenge them. And this David Ginsburg, who does the Verify My Mortgage, does the same thing, verifymypmi.com. And again, can save you hundreds of dollars a month in private mortgage insurance premiums you don't have to be paying. So you're exactly right. Isn't that great?
Good stuff. So what you can do is use your mortgage equity optimization model where you pay down your mortgage, and then every year or so, then you have it verified, right?
And you get rid of your PMI.
My mortgage and verify my PMI to make sure that they know exactly what the balance is. Correct?
And once you're over 20%, they've got to stop it,
Right.
So that, so anyway, a lot of people are paying PMI that shouldn't be, but they don't know how to do it. And by the way, the same is true with having to do with escrows. A lot of people pay too much on their escrow. An escrow is where their bank is holding aside money for property insurance and property taxes based on their assumption. In many cases, they assume too much. They assume property taxes and property insurance premiums are higher than they should be.
Right.
They're not right. And again, they're holding this money. They're earning interest on it. You're earning nothing on it. And the same guy, this David Ginsburg, he does these three things. It's called verifymyescrow.com. And he does the same thing. He looks at what the property insurance and taxes should be. In many cases, sees you're over withheld, gets the escrow reduced. You get a big refund. So he has three ways to help you verify my escrow, PMI, and mortgage. Again, these are problems people don't know they have, never mind know how to solve them.
Wow. Problems they don't even know they had.
That's right. I like to solve problems people don't even know they have.
It's really like free money or found money, wouldn't you say?
One of my basic principles of personal finance, Larry, is always take free money if it's offered to you. I would hope you would agree with that one.
Right. You listen, everybody likes free, guys. Everybody likes free, right? Free is for me.
Absolutely. Now, I've actually created a special landing page for your followers specifically.
Good.
Which is go.moneyanswers.com/brain, since you're the Brain Picker Pro. And on there, they've got some links, some free stuff. I have a monthly newsletter, the Money Answers newsletter. There's just all kinds of resources. It's just a small sample, but I want to do some things specifically related to real estate that could help your folks in all kinds of ways. So they probably didn't know they could pay their mortgage off in 5 years instead of 30 years and verify their mortgage and get 8%, passive income and all these things. So hopefully this has been helpful to your listeners a little bit.
That's good. It's really, really good information. Guys, go over there and grab it. I'm on the website right now. It looks really cool. I like it. There's a lot of good information there you can get. go.moneyanswers.com/brain, BRAIN for Brain Picker Pro. So go.moneyanswers.com/brain, special website he's set up just for Brain Picker Pro listeners. In fact, it says, welcome, Brain Picker Pro listeners.
Absolutely.
Right? If you're here because you listened to my chat with Larry Goins on Brain Picker Pro. Yeah, good. That's awesome, man. I really, really appreciate you sharing all this great information with us, with our listeners. It's really, really good stuff. A lot of people, I've noticed, Jordan, they'll get caught up and I got to get a real estate deal. I got to make a $10,000 check. I got to quit my job. But a lot of people don't think about the small things,
right,
that make a little bit of difference every single month, do they?
Correct. And I mean, just think of how much you're wasting on mortgage interest if you're paying the traditional system for 30 years. It just burns me up, actually. And the banks have every interest in not telling you that there's an alternative. They think you're doing a great job by giving them your money for free and paying interest for 30 years. So it's just a matter of education. That's what I've been doing for a long time, is helping people, and in my books and radio shows and doing podcasts like this. I just love to wake people up to things I didn't even know. Again, I'm solving problems in many cases I didn't even know they had.
That is awesome. So guys, the best way to connect with Jordan is go to go.moneyanswers.com/brain, special landing page there that will give you a lot of information, and you can connect with Jordan there. Right, Jordan?
I'm glad to take emails from you folks as well. Do that all the time.
Good.
Further things, I follow up with people. I really love to help them. I'm just doing this a long, long time. So love to help you people, Larry.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, is that a separate email address or will they get
Well,
that?
they can just go through that Money Answers thing, and there's an Ask Jordan thing at moneyanswers.com.
Okay, cool.
People give me their life stories, and I love to help.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, man, thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate it. This has been some great content, great information for everybody. Really, everyday, information that anybody can use regardless of their current situation.
Terrific. Well, thanks so much, Larry. Appreciate being on Brain Picker Power.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for coming on. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching and listening. Please be sure and leave us some positive feedback. If you like the show, leave us some feedback. We really would appreciate it, whether it's on iTunes or leave us a comment on Facebook or whatever it is you want to do. And go check out Jordan's website at that special link, and we'll put it in the show notes as well. So thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks, Jordan. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Larry.
Take care.